Okay, so what was one important event that happened in U.S. history during your time in America?
One that stands out for me is the Vietnam War.
The Vietnam War was between nationalists, who were Southern Vietnamese, and Viet Cong, who were communists and supported the Vietnamese government. The war started in 1959, with the nationalists being joined by America to stop the spread of communism in the world. The U.S. became involved in the war because of their dedication to their Cold War foreign policy of containing communism around the world. The authorization to join the war was given by President Lyndon Johnson on March 1965. This caused many Americans to view the war as a no-win situation, which lost the public's support for the war.
The reason being, two of my brothers, my eldest brother and a brother who came after me, are Vietnam vet. Both are suffering with what we call Vietnam syndrome or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And one is dying for that, and so that kind of touches me, that because it was not our war, meaning not the United States war, but we got involved with that. And that has not teach our government a lesson that we should not have something like that repeated. Unfortunately, it's happening again in regards to the Middle East conflict that we have. And the injuries are even more fatal than are worse than what the Vietnam vets have experienced. And the reason why it touches me is because how it affected my brother, especially the one who my younger brother. He had difficulty in dealing with it, and it took years before he was diagnosed for that because it's not an accepted fact. But now it is, and I'm glad that finally the government came around and he is getting the best treatment we can get through the VA hospital. That I'm thankful for. Likewise with my elder brother, he reacted differently than my younger brother, but the stress is now getting to him too. The stress of the what happened, what he has experienced, the unnecessary killing, and what's paramount in their mind is they have to kill children
Mm-hmm.
to to survive because they would throw Molotov cocktails to them.
Mm-hmm.
So now my elder brother is experiencing it too, but I'm glad he also is being treated fairly well at the VA hospitals. So that's very paramount in my mind.
So did the war affect America economically? Like with your job or anything? Was there like layoffs?
No, not at
Mm-hmm.
all. That's why it was an unpopular war.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it was hard for veterans, Vietnam veterans,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll be fighting the war out there in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Then they come home for R&R or rest and recreation.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they see? It's just like it's so normal, like nothing is happening out there.
Mm-hmm.
No terrible thing is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and people and the citizenry here in the United States were even against them. Or why are you involved there? Blah de blah de blah. But then they have no choice. They were drafted, and they have to obey what the being soldiers. They have to obey what they're told to do. In a roundabout way, because we manufacture guns and armaments. In a roundabout way, we
Mm-hmm.
were, like it generated more in the economy of the United States because we were manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
tanks, bullets,
Mm-hmm.
armaments.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so was it easy for your brothers to find jobs once they came back?
Um, Elder brother, it was easy
Mm-hmm.
because of the way he handled his experience, and he it helped also being a vet. They get a preferential treatment. You know that companies will hire them because they're Vietnam vet or
Mm-hmm.
just they're veterans, and but then because of the economy getting bad, they would lose their job. But then they just keep on getting. They're able to survive.
Mm-hmm.
As a younger brother, because of the real trauma of the war, because he did more, I believe he did more killing than my elder brother, because my elder brother was airborne. He's in the something like a special
Mm-hmm.
forces. He's airborne. He would parachute, but still it was hard for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do you think was another important event in American history?
I believe it's the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
Robert F. Kennedy was the Democratic Party presidential candidate in 1968. In the Ambassador Hotel, located in Los Angeles, on the night of waiting for election results, Kennedy was shot 3 times on his way to give a victory speech. The shooter was 24-year-old Sirhan Sirhan, a Jerusalem-born male who shot Kennedy with a .22 pistol. This left the country shocked with another assassination of a major public figure. Robert Kennedy was one of the 3 assassinations of his decade, including his brother, John F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. Robert Kennedy's assassination is the reason for Secret Service protection for presidential candidates.
Important. It's just sad because another Kennedy, because his brother, the President John Kennedy, was also assassinated. So that's just very sad, a very tragic situation because they come from a good family. They serve, they give back to the country, and they're good, and they're just things that they could have done for the country that did not materialize
Mm-hmm.
because they were assassinated so early on their life.
Why was he assassinated?
Robert Kennedy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe his political belief. And the saddest part that I could see about, I could also remember about Robert Kennedy is one of his sons saw the assassination, saw when his dad was shot on TV. And the unfortunate part, it was hard for him to take it, and he took it, and he died later on when he was a young adult.
Mm-hmm.
All a waste of life,
Mm-hmm.
waste
Yeah.
of talent.
Mm-hmm. So how did it like affect your daily life? Like was that whole day like quiet?
At that time, it was. Of course, I wanted to know more what happened. What's how could that have happened and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But it's later on, like it was just. Uh, at that time, there was not much security around candidates, which is after that happened. Now they have already security for the candidates, but primarily it's just what a waste of talent,
Mm-hmm.
which our country could use
Mm-hmm.
because they have such an influential family and people look up to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's another important event that you thought was impactful in American history?
Most current one being for me is 9/11.
The attack on September 11th, 2001, was a day of sadness within America. 19 al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 planes with the intention of crash landing them into key areas on U.S. soil. The planes were crashed into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center, a third into the Pentagon, and the fourth crash landing into a field in Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives on that day, and left millions of people across the world shocked.
The terrorist attack that we have finally reached our shores. Terrorism attacks and things like that were so prevalent in Europe and other parts of the world. But finally, it came to our shores. And now it's scary. And personally for me, watching the news that when it happened, seeing the plane, second plane hitting the one of the twin towers, that was just shocking. That was just embedded in my mind.
What did you think after the attack?
Why did it happen? How could that have happened with all the technologies that we have? How could we have not detected, all the advancement in spies,
Yeah.
or activism, but somebody just dropped the ball.
So how was that day? Like, what happened after the event?
For me personally, I couldn't work. I had to go to work, and then one of my co-workers, their brothers, they were just beside themselves. Then I found out that they have family at the Twin Tower. So later on, they had to leave for New York. And I didn't see them come back anymore. I think they just stayed in New York.
What did you do after?
After that, prayed and just want to know more what has happened. How could it be prevented? And marvel at the heroic acts of other passengers on another plane. Because another plane was heading on to, I believe, the Congress and then the White House, but they were able to stop it.
So, how long did it take for things to return back to normal?
I couldn't say it's all back to normal because it's been years, more than 10 years now. We're always fearful. The things are better, security is in place, but we're still concerned. We're still fearful. And just take a day at a time, enjoy, and have, just be with family. Made me closer to my family, made me appreciate, because you never can tell if you leave the house if you'll be coming back.